All right, hello, welcome back. So I have been playing Slay the Spire. It's been out for a few days. Whoops, wrong one. I didn't want to check that real quick. You can see I have about 20 hours played almost. I have 10 wins, 14 losses. You can see all of my accounts here, like the wins and losses. I've mostly been playing the Silent. The Regent's win was during co-op. So, I mean, my current streak is 5 wins in a row. It's kind of bonkers. And I'll get to that probably in another video where I kind of break down the Silent because I'm the most experienced with the Silent. So, it's getting into that. So, we'll start with just describing how I feel about the character and kind of things that have changed and what not are going on, because 3 of the characters are from the last game. These 3 here. The Ironclad feels mostly the same with a bit more tools. There's a few weird things. My first run, I got Return to Primal or something, where I would turn all attacks into just big rocks. And it was just interesting. And it's what won me the run for the most part. And there's a lot more vulnerability synergy now. So you can, there was a power that says when you put vulnerable on a creature, draw a card, or upgrade to draw 2 cards. So you have a lot more ways to get things vulnerable, deal way more damage, and draw cards while you're doing it. For the most part, most of the other kits are seemingly the same. The Silent has a lot more discard synergy and a lot more shivs. Shivs feel pretty decent. Poison feels fairly decent, even though I think they got rid of Catalyst, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen it. I've tried looking on websites. I don't think it's anywhere. It is, however, not bad. There are some really good combinations with this class that I'll probably go down into in a different video, breaking down the Silent a little bit, since I feel like I got a good grasp of how the Silent now works, which plays vastly differently than the Slay the Spire 1. The discard mechanic Sly is very, very important to currently, from what I can tell, mastering the Silent. We'll jump over here to the Defect. Pretty much plays the same, but has some more, you want to evoke orbs more, it feels like. You're not going to be getting a lot of focus. You're not going to get to, high levels of focus and just be like, oh, now I just sit here and let the game play itself. No, bias cognition is now not an easy, as far as I know, I think it's a boss relic card now, if we can break into that at a later point or whatever. But and the defragment, which is also big on focus, getting orbs, you get orbs that then grow in power. Defragment is now a rare card reward, so you're not going to be seeing it as much. So they made it so that a lot of it is more about getting temporary focus. You get temporary focus for this turn. Oh, your orbs do big things for this turn. But for the most part, it feels not as changed, but definitely more refined is what I'll say. And one of the other seemingly mechanics that I think they've put onto the Defect a little bit more was that the Defect was pretty big about making statuses in the previous game. So you would create burns, you would create dazes, and then you draw them back later and they do stuff. Well, now there seems to be a lot of cards that do that still, but for the Defect, there are now cards to basically exhaust those cards and turn them into I think it was draw 1, gain 1 energy. So a cycle that gains you energy that allows you to do more. So it seems like a pretty interesting build. But the new characters, the Regent, has, from what I understand, one of their mechanics is that they will create colorless cards. And you can just do stuff with colorless cards. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's also a forge mechanic where you make one big sword and it does a lot of damage. In my co-op run, that is what I did. I did a big sword. I had 2 busted components where I forget the exact card. I could probably find it here really quick. If I go to the Regent, can I go into powers? No. skill, and it was a rare. It was the Smith. I got this at the start of the run. I then imbued it so that it would play at the start of combat. So it would play right at the start, even though the other mechanic that the Regent has is stars. You have to gain stars to play certain cards. So even though I didn't have 4 stars, it would still play for free. It didn't cost anything. And then I had the first card I play, every combat plays twice. So it would make this blade plus 80 damage on the first turn in my hand for free. And I had multiple other synergies to be able to just do stuff. So the forging mechanic stars seem to be pretty good. I haven't gotten, obviously, too in-depth with the Regent, but feels pretty strong. Feels pretty good. Can block a lot, can draw a lot, can deal big damage. It's kind of wild. The Necrobinder has, you know, you can see summon here, Asti, a little hand that comes out and kind of helps you. Kind of. You can play cards for Asti to deal damage. You can also use Asti to block damage, as long as it's an attack on you. And you can see it's a summon mechanic. So when you play a card that says summon, Asti gains that much HP. Then there are cards that say deal damage based on Asti's current or max HP. And anytime you were to take an attack, it goes to your block first, then Asti, then you. So it gives you another layer of defense as well. The other mechanic is Doom. It works, a lot of people say similar to Poison. I think I want to say like inverse to Poison, where imagine that it's starting from 0 and works its way up. Whenever your current HP is the same as or below the Doom value, you, at the end of the whole combat turn, that creature dies, including yourself, because there are ways to give Doom to yourself. So it is something that feels kind of like Poison, but not as good currently at the current state, because Poison hits at the start of the turn. So you can hit really hard and then be like, I don't have to block this. The Necrobinder has to be able to block the damage because it's after the creature's combat turn. So all the characters feel way different from each other. Even though I haven't played a lot, the Regent definitely doesn't play the same as the Silent. I had the Regent at the final boss of Act 3 in co-op, mind you. So this attack was doubled. I was able to get the Sovereign Blade so strong that it hit for 555 twice. Obviously, co-op can have some pretty broken stuff, and co-op is really good. It's really nice. It's really nice. I was shocked how good they did it. I like how you can have these things here. So if we look into, you know, certain runs, let me see, where are my run history? You can see here's how the floors work now. You know, you start here at Niao eventually. If you'll eventually unlock Niao, and you go through a floor, you go to you go to the final boss, you start fighting it. I barely got out of here. And then you get something kind of like a boss relic, but not really. One of the things that seems to be an ongoing discussion for this game is that it's really difficult to get energy. So you can see here I had a Tactician Plus and then another Tactician, so I could give myself energy to play other cards. It's something where this game is trying to get you to play with what you have versus, oh, well, here's an energy relic that does this. So the gameplay is very similar to Slay the Spire 1. That's fair. That's fine. But I think most of the fights feel completely differently. Phantom here, which was my Act 1 boss, is very different from any other boss in Slay the Spire 1. It requires you to hit it a lot with single damage, and once you do enough of it, it eventually goes and you can start actually dealing damage to it. It works like if Intangible has stacks. This Knowledge Demon here, at the start of every few turns, I don't know the exact amount of turns, but definitely at the start of combat, I want to say, Knowledge Demon will debuff you, and you have to make a choice. You can either normally take more damage or change something about your cards something about your cards that you play. So you might only be able to play 3 cards per turn. You have 1 less energy. That might be a really far one. Or you draw 1 less card. So you get to choose how that works. The test subject has 3 phases. As you can see, I didn't really struggle with it. I took 3 damage. It's not that big of a deal. I can see how it can become a big deal depending on if things change over time. So how do I feel about the game? It is very good. You know, it is very solid. It's a very good game. There are a lot of relics. There's a lot of cards. If you go into every, you know, I've unlocked a ton of the silent cards. There's plenty of new cards. You can see a bunch of rare cards now that have been added. Some that you already know. Storm of Steel, Adrenaline, Malaise are good. Blade of Ink is completely new. That works with shivs. So, Slay the Spire 2 feels like a sequel. And I think that's fantastic what they've done. You know, I've heard there have been people online being, you know, critiquing it that it feels too similar to Slay the Spire 1. And to me, it feels very different. It feels very, very different. This game is fantastic. I think even in its early access state, it is fairly good. It has mostly been completed. There's a few that I'm trying to look at something here. So this is like where you can tell that it is still in early access. They're still not done everything. It's a placeholder. And anytime you unlock one of these, it's meant to give you more of the story and other unlocks as well. So if you beat Act 3 with the Ironclad, you get some new relics, new cards, new potions. So it's not complete, but for, you know, what was it? $22, $23, maybe $25. This is a fantastic buy. This is something that reminds me of how when I bought Baldur's Gate 3 and how fantastic that game was and how, you know, it is very great to see the way that the teams develop certain things. This has been fantastic. I mean, you can look at the patch notes. We can go all the way back to their first patch note. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I went back and it's from February of 2023, like 3 years ago. You can see all of this stuff, even though it just came out. This is patch notes from July 31st. So you get to find, you could go in and see, oh, well, what were they thinking when they were doing all these things? You know, even here, it just says, yeah, we're looking to do stuff. I think this has been fantastic playing the multiplayer. My brother has Starlink internet, and we never really had any issues with it. It is very much as what a sequel needs to be. It adds a lot to the game that the original doesn't have. Yes, you can do co-op with mods, but this has been pretty good. There's obviously room to grow and to change, but right now it is a fantastic game that really is just going to really show me why Slay the Spire is such a renowned game. I remember I've seen a memed clip where Northern Lion says that Slay the Spire 1 should be sold for $3,000. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's what he said. And man, I may not have played Slay the Spire 1 a ton, but I definitely consumed a lot of it. I watched a ton of Baylor Lord, Frost Prime. I'm still watching them as the game is out, and it's fun to see how they just interact with people, how the multiplayer works, and how, you know, they decide to do, I was watching Frost Prime, and he decided to do a meme run where all of them just played the Ironclad. And the whole goal was to play one card, which is called Bully. Let me bring it up here really quick. It should be, oh, why are you not here? Do I not have Bully unlocked? What the? I thought these were in alphabetical order. A to Z. Give it to me. Have I not gotten the card? I thought it was Bully. I don't know what the card is, but fine. We'll just ignore that for now. But it was a card that said, I think it's 0 mana, and then it 0 energy, sorry. And whenever you hit something, it gains damage per vulnerable stack that's on a creature. So with all this vulnerable now and drawing cards in a multiplayer setting, you're just going to obliterate bosses. They said they eventually all went different paths, which I think feels interesting that in multiplayer that is doing fantastic. I think it's been a great game. I think, you know, I'm having a wonderful time right now. You know, get to see all this like beta art stuff, which I guess I should have warned at the start. I'll put a thing that says there's spoilers ahead. Something. Maybe I won't. I mean, just this here, is that really a spoiler? I don't know. But it is a fantastic addition and a fantastic sequel. It does everything that the last game did and then some. I do think there's still a lot of balancing to be done. And from what I can see, you know, you were eventually going to see just, you know, more ascension levels. Maybe they're looking to up the difficulty. I mean, for me, one of the hardest ones was Ascension 2, where at the start of runs, you start at 80% of your max HP, even the starting point. I think a lot of the changes help feel the game, make the game feel unique, but also very similar. I can't wait to see what else they have in store. I know I will be playing this for a very long time. I'm going to be trying to probably, before the end of this month, hitting Ascension 10 on the Silent, and then just trying to learn the other classes. I think the Defect feels better. The Ironclad feels the same. The Regent feels strong. Necrobinder, I still don't understand the Necrobinder quite yet, but, you know, I'll learn it. I'll learn it, and I'll understand it. So, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you're enjoying the game. I will probably... I said I was going to stream it. I streamed only this run. This run here was the only one I streamed. And I've not been recording all these runs. I probably should have, because I would have been like, oh, here's what I'm doing now. So, I think I'm going to do a video here soon discussing the Silent and how to play her, because she does seem to play, from what I can see, plays very differently from all the other times. So, hopefully you're enjoying Slay the Spire 2. Hopefully you're enjoying this wonderful sequel. I can't wait to see what Mega Crit does for the rest of early access. It is fantastic. I can't wait for the full release. I'm going to continue playing though. So, thank you much for watching. You have a good one.